Hey guys, welcome back to Wentworth Life and welcome to the next installment of Wentworth Reviews. In today's video, I am going to be reviewing Wentworth Season 1, Episode 6, Captive. Now, this is the episode where we get to learn the full story on Vera and the truth on who Adam is. It's also the episode where Jack starts to get into certain characters' heads and starts to stir the pot. So let's start with Vera, because up until now we really don't know much about Vera. All we know is that she is a little bit of a sheepish character who has this boyfriend called Adam who keeps her busy in her personal life. However, we learn that Vera is actually emotionally chained to her mother. Vera lives at home with her mum, where Vera looks after her and takes care of her. Now, that doesn't sound so bad, right? Wrong. Vera's mother emotionally abuses her, and it started from her childhood. When the episode begins, Vera is trying to put on some makeup, and she even has like this little chart with instructions that she puts together because she doesn't know how to put makeup on, bless her. We get a flashback to when Vera was a young teenager putting makeup on, and her mum comes in saying, "Lipstick won't change what you're born with." Like, wow. She goes on to say that some girls can wear makeup and some girls can't. Better to know now which one you are so you don't waste any more money. And Vera's mum proceeds to throw like a towel at her head. It's just horrible. So this mental abuse has been going on since Vera was young. I mean, there's another flashback scene where a teenage Vera is coming home from being to see a movie with a boy, and he's basically walked her home. They then proceed to have a cheeky little kiss, and Vera's mum is there at the front door saying, "Vera, will you come inside and stop making such a fool of yourself?" Ugh. Vera's mum is such a bitch. But this explains why Vera is so sheepish and shy. But what about Adam? Well, Adam is not real. Vera has clearly made him up so she can use Adam as an excuse to get out of drinks with work colleagues and staff parties. I mean, it wouldn't sound too cool saying, "Oh, I can't come out tonight, my mother won't allow it." I mean, it's really sad that Vera has felt the need to invent a boyfriend called Adam like this. There's a really great scene where Vera is making dinner at home for her and her mother, but Vera has also been invited out for drinks by Linda Miles. So Vera is all dressed up and ready to go out after dinner, but Vera's mum, she basically starts to make out that she's got a headache and that she's coming down with something, and she basically just doesn't want Vera to leave her. Vera tells her that she never gets to go out with her friends and that she basically has no life. It's pretty clear that Vera is close to breaking point. I mean, she's taken this mental torture for so long now, but at some point something's gonna boil over. Vera reluctantly tells her mum that she won't go out tonight, but later on, while her mum is sleeping, Vera walks in with a pillow into her mum's bedroom, and for a moment there, I literally thought that Vera was about to smother her mother to death. I still kind of feel like that Vera was kind of thinking about it. Anyway, Vera goes out with Linda and the officers, and she doesn't actually go home. She ends up pulling an all-nighter, and I was like, yes, Vera, you go girl, you little party animal. But then Vera's mum comes to the prison to bring Vera's uniform, not realizing that Vera has a spare one in the locker. Now this is where I just want the floor to swallow Vera up, because it's when all of the staff members discover that Adam is indeed a figment of Vera's imagination. Yes, Vera's mum tells them all that Vera has never ever had a boyfriend, she's too shy. Oh god, it's so painful watching this scene. I don't think I would ever be able to go back into work ever again after that. Even though Vera has one of the worst shifts ever, it does end on a little bit of a happier note for her when Fletcher comes to see her while she's sitting on the stairs, and the pair of them, they end up kissing, and it's actually a really nice scene. I was so happy for Vera when I first ever saw it, and I mean, Vera's got her demons, Fletcher has his demons. Maybe they'll be good together. I actually think they would work well together, at least for now. Even though like Fletcher is like a giant next to Vera. My thoughts on Vera's mum is not good. She's obviously been mentally abusive to Vera for most of her life. Maybe even physically abusive, right? You know, when Vera's mum was a lot younger back in the day. And as she's got older, she's now using the, oh, I'm not very well cards all the time now to, you know, try and trap Vera. She can appear sweet when she's trying to get her own way, which can kind of make you feel sorry for her. But don't be fooled, she is a nasty piece of work. Maybe, you know, she's just scared of being all alone, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's not Vera's fault, and, you know, Vera can still go on nights out with her friends and have a real boyfriend and still be there for him. It's just so messed up, it fries my brain. There is a really cool scene in this episode where we get to finally see B go badass. So, B has been understandably freaking out because Harry and Debbie, they haven't been answering the phone to her and they haven't been to see her for a while. So when Harry does eventually bring Debbie in for a visit, Debbie is looking a little bit different to her usual self. I mean, she seems to have developed a little bit of an attitude problem and she's looking a little bit tired. But the best bit is when Harry tries to threaten B in the visitor's room, telling her to like never speak to him like the way she did on the phone the night before. And B is like, well, what are you gonna do about it, Harry? Huh? I just love it. Harry then says that if Debbie keeps acting up, then one day she's gonna push him too far. Well, this just sets B off, and B literally dives over the table and slams her hand around Harry's throat, throwing Harry backwards off his chair and onto the ground, with B still throttling him. And B says, if you lay a finger on her, I will fucking kill you. And I'm just like, yes, this is the B Smith we've been waiting to see. I love this scene. It's absolutely brilliant. It's definitely one of my favorite season 1 moments ever. So B is like dragged away and, you know, the visit is postponed. Fletcher is then like, you know, B, you threatened to kill your husband, I'm gonna have to report it. But Will manages to talk Fletcher around, telling him like, you know, we all say things in the heat of the moment. So Fletcher lets B off with a warning. Oh, I just bloody love this scene. The scene between Debbie and Harry in the other room is also brilliant. I mean, the acting is just so spot on and it's so dramatic. And you got Vera there, she's witnessing this whole argument, and oh, I just love it. Jax was being an extra pain in the ass in this episode. So Tony is back from the slot, but she ends up changing units. So Doreen and the girls, they're all concerned for Tony, but Tony doesn't want to seem to have anything to do with them. Now, in a horrific scene, Tony is brought to Jax's unit, where Jax ends up pouring boiling hot water out of a kettle all over Tony's body, and it just looks so painful. So basically, Jax wanted to know who supplied her with those drugs back at the start of the season. And Jax then forces Tony to tell Doreen that it was actually Frankie who supplied her. Now this shocks Doreen, but it does end up planting a seed, and that's all Jax wants in order to try and break up Frankie's unit. Jax then forces Tony to tell Erica and Vera that it was Frankie, but of course, Erica knows who really did supply the drugs. It was the teacher, but she can't say anything. So Channing comes in and Frankie is then charged and she's sent to the slot. And this is where Erica pisses me off because she does nothing to help Frankie in this situation, and it just drives me a little bit mad. Erica may care for Frankie in some shape or form, but she clearly cares more about herself and her career. Meanwhile, Jax is in her cell looking like a Cheshire cat eating cheese, and oh, just look how smug she is, you little bitch. Your time is coming. So with Frankie out of the way, this now gives Jax free rein to cause more problems. This episode is good. It's It's really good. I love seeing Vera's backstory. As horrible as it is to watch, it just makes me want to give Vera a massive hug. My favourite part of this episode has to be B. Smith losing her shit at Harry. It was just great watching this other side of B come out. It was like B just turned into the Exorcist for a moment, and I loved it. My least favourite part of this episode has to be Tony getting burnt with that kettle of hot water. It always makes me feel funny every time I watch it, and not in a good way. So much is happening now, and I'm loving every single moment of it. At this stage of season 1, we are now learning more and more about the staff of Wentworth and seeing just how messed up they all are, as well as the prisoners. I mean, at the end of the day, they're all in that prison together, and I honestly think that any episode that has any major Vera storyline or a major Joan Ferguson storyline will always be up there as favourite episodes for me. I just love them so much. Okay then, well, that's all of my thoughts on this episode. Now I want to hear all of your thoughts. What were your first impressions of this episode when you first watched it? And what are your opinions on Vera's mum? Don't be shy, get typing in a comment box below. Right then, well, thank you all for popping by today and watching today's video. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, stay safe out there, and I will see you all again very soon.